It's 3 a.m. You're wide awake. Your mind is racing, cycling through a loop of what-ifs. What if I fail the presentation? What if I lose my job? Worry can feel like a prison, trapping us in a future that hasn't happened and stealing our peace. But what if you had a key to unlock that prison? An ancient two-step system designed by the Stoics, not just to manage worry, but to dissolve it at its source. This isn't about ignoring your problems. It's about facing them without fear. Here's the problem with worry. It feels productive, like we're working on the problem, but most of the time, we're just spinning our wheels in the mud of anxiety. This mental friction drains our energy and makes us miserable. The Stoic approach gives us a way to get traction. Our goal is to give you this two-step Stoic framework so you can reclaim your mind from the grip of anxiety and find peace in an uncertain world. The entire Stoic system for worry rests on two powerful ideas. The first is our diagnostic tool, the Dichotomy of Control. The philosopher Epictetus said, "Our first job is to distinguish what is in our control from what is not." Think of it as a two-bucket system. Every worry you have goes into one of two buckets. The first is in my control. Your thoughts, your actions, your choices. The second is out of my control. The weather, the economy, other people's opinions, and the ultimate outcome of your efforts. Worry is the useless act of trying to manage the second bucket. Peace is found by focusing exclusively on the first. Once you've sorted your worries, you need a tool to deal with legitimate concerns. This is where the Stoics used a practice called Premeditatio Malorum. In Latin, this means the premeditation of evils. It sounds pessimistic, but it is the ultimate antidote to anxiety. Think of it as a mental fire drill. You don't run a fire drill because you want a fire. You run it so you'll be prepared and calm if one happens. By calmly visualizing a negative outcome, you rob it of its emotional sting, and you can start to make a practical plan. It's the difference between vague, paralyzing anxiety and clear-eyed preparation. What's the most common advice for worry? Don't worry, or think positive. This is like telling someone drowning to just swim better. It doesn't address the underlying fear. Worry is fueled by a fear of the unknown. The Stoic approach doesn't ignore the fear. It turns on the lights, looks the fear directly in the eye, and dissects it. That is how you dismantle it for good. Let's run some fire drills. Here are 3 common worries and how to apply the Stoic framework. First, worrying about a big presentation. The problem, you're terrified of messing up a huge presentation at work. The reaction, you lying awake, imagining every disaster. The Stoic reframe: first, sort your worries. Your boss's reaction, out of your control. Your level of preparation, in your control. Now, run the fire drill. What if you do stumble over your words? Your plan: pause, breathe, find your place, and continue. By rehearsing failure, you prepare to handle it. Actionable steps. First, on a page, make 2 columns. In my control and out of my control. Sort your worries. Second, for every item in the in my control column, write down one specific action you can take. Second, financial anxiety. The problem, a constant low-grade anxiety about money. The reaction, either obsessively checking your accounts or avoiding them entirely. The Stoic reframe, make the fear concrete. Instead of just worrying about money, run a specific fire drill. Actionable steps. First, ask a specific question. What would I do if I had an unexpected $1,500 bill? Second, brainstorm the response. Write down 2 to 3 practical steps you would actually take, like using your emergency fund or cutting a specific budget item. This turns the monster in the dark into a manageable problem. Third, worrying about your family. The problem, you're anxious about your child's future or a partner's health. The reaction, trying to overmanage their lives or feeling helpless dread. The Stoic reframe. Use the dichotomy of control. You cannot control their choices or their ultimate path. You can control the values you model and the support you offer. Actionable steps. First, when you feel the worry, consciously pivot your focus from controlling them to controlling your input. Second, ask the right question. What is the one thing I can do today to be the supportive person I want to be? Then, focus all your energy on that action. This Stoic two-step system is powerful because it addresses worry from both sides. The dichotomy of control acts as a filter. It immediately shows you where your energy is being wasted, on the uncontrollables, and redirects it to where you have power. It takes you from helpless anxiety to focused action. Then, Premeditatio Malorum acts as your training ground. It takes legitimate fears and systematically desensitizes you to them by turning vague dread into concrete plans. This doesn't mean you'll never have problems. It means you will no longer suffer twice, once from the event and once from the useless worry about it. You trade anxiety for preparation and fear for peace. So, how do you make this a default part of your thinking? Here are 3 simple habits. First, the worry sorting journal. At the end of the day, write your anxieties into 2 columns, in my control and out of my control. Then ceremonially rip up or cross out the out of my control list. Focus only on what's left. Second, schedule a 5-minute fire drill. Once a week, pick one anxiety, set a timer for 5 minutes and think through the worst-case scenario and how you'd respond. This builds incredible resilience. Third, practice gratitude for past worries. Think back to something you were intensely worried about a year ago. Did it happen? If so, how did you survive? If not, notice the wasted energy. Use your own history as evidence of your resilience. Worry feels like a chain, but you have always held the key. The key is the wisdom to distinguish what you can change from what you cannot, and the courage to prepare for what might come. You have the power to stop being a prisoner of what if and become the calm, prepared, and resilient architect of your own peace of mind. That is the promise of a real-life Stoic. Now, it's your turn. In the comments below, tell me, what is one worry you can sort into the out-of-my-control bucket right now and let go of? Let's support each other in this practice. And if this video helped you find a little more peace, please give it a like, subscribe to Real Life Stoic, and share it with someone you know who worries too much. Thank you for watching. Be prepared, not scared.